The word why is more puzzling than we often think. My old philosophy tutor teased me not long ago because he said I wrote an article on why and you seem to ignore it, because you could say he died because his heart gave out or he stopped breathing, or he died because the chief priests were cross with him, or he died because the Romans wanted to get rid of a potential messianic leader, or he died because his followers ran away and left him to his fate. And all these things are actually true, but they don't get to the heart of it. And of course, the big question is, did Jesus really expect and even intend to die? And if so, does that make him weird? I remember once when we lived in Canada, I was once teaching Sunday school in a little town where we lived just outside Montreal in Hudson Heights. And I asked my 12-year-old class, why did Jesus die? And I got them to write it down. And I said, no conferring. And they all wrote down a couple of sentences. Then we went round the class. And roughly half of the class gave me the political answers. The Romans were cross, the chief priests wanted rid of him, the Pharisees couldn't stand him, etc. The other half gave me the theological answers. He died to save us from our sins. He died so that we could be forgiven. He died so that we could go to heaven. I don't know if any of them said he died so that God's kingdom would come. That would be the true answer. But we spent a very interesting hour putting those different why answers together, because they do fit together, and the stories in the Gospels tell them like that. And here's how it goes. It looks as though the idea of God becoming king is a challenge to the powers of darkness, which we don't have good language for the powers of darkness, and they didn't really then. But they believed in them all right, as we should if we look back at the 20th and already the 21st century and say, this isn't just the sum total of human folly. There are dark powers at work. And Jesus went to the place where the dark powers did their worst. You can see it building up during the Gospels, with people shrieking at him in the synagogues and people plotting against his life, and finally the rulers taking notice. It's as though all the darkness in the world is heaped onto Jesus as he goes to his death. And somehow, it's a word theologians love, somehow it means this is where we have to go, even though we don't have good language for it. Somehow this destroyed the ultimate authority of the dark powers, which is death itself, so that then new creation was able to begin with the resurrection. The resurrection meant that on the cross, Jesus had defeated death and everything that contributes to it. Not so that then utopia would arrive immediately afterwards, but so that this principle of new life would now be able to make its way out into the world and claim the territory that Jesus had won by his victory over death itself. So what did the cross achieve? Why did Jesus die? He died on behalf of sinners. He died in the place of sinners, so that the dark powers which get their authority because people sin, the dark powers would be robbed of that authority by Jesus dying in the place of sinners to win the victory over sin and death. You have to say a lot more than that to get the full story, but that's the very heart of it.